And now it's time for more of Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's talk hookup. This portion of the show is sponsored in part by Ford, the official truck of Let's Talk Hookup. Shimano Rods and Reels. Fish with the best. Shimano. And by Yamaha Outboards, official motor sponsor of Let's Talk Hookup. Here we go. Another great hour of Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's Talk Hookup. Here's Pete Gray, Rock Cod Rick Mexa, and Corey Sandin.
Welcome back. Hour number 2, Let's Talk Hookup, right here on the Let's Talk Hookup app and the Mightier 1090 ESPN Radio. Pete Gray here, along with Rock Cod Rick Maxa in the world headquarters of Let's Talk Hookup here, right next to Fisherman's Landing in San Diego. Talking from the other side of the bay with C4 Sport Fishing's Captain Ryan Bostian from the San Diego. Having a great time talking yellowtail, bluefin. Bluefin are biting, yellowtail are biting.
So great.
Rockfish are biting. It's a wonderful time.
About
it's a
time,
glorious time of the year.
About time.
Yeah, for
waiting
sure.
for this.
And we're giving away a fantastic prize.
Man, you're not kidding. If you didn't catch the beginning of the show, how about somebody at the end of today's show is going to get to go fishing on board the San Diego on a full-day trip at a C4 Sport Fishing. And, man, just what an awesome opportunity to fish with Captain Ryan, Captain Matt, get in on all the fun, all the great stuff we've been talking about today. One of our lucky callers or texters. Damn right.
Quite possibly.
You might get to fish with Goner.
Oh, no way. Wait, Goner's on the boat now?
He's a relief guy for us over there.
Sweet.
Yeah. He's a
veteran long-range crew member.
Celebrity.
Oh,
Yeah, he's great.
Steve's a really good guy.
He's over there 2 days a week usually. Yeah, 2-3 days a week.
You got an all-star cast over there.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a lot of fun, and we're giving away one of those great trips. If you want to get through and join in today's fun, it's been a very busy day. This is the best time to call right now. We have had packed phone lines since the show started. It's no surprise having Captain Ryan Bostian on here. But during the break and the catch reports, 2 phone calls dropped off. So it's the first time we've had an open phone line since the show started. If you want to get through, you can get in right now. 213 area code 432-1090. One more time, 213-432-1090. It's open right now. Or keep those texts going. So many great texts have already come rolling through, and we've got another full hour of reading your text questions. Again, you can only send those in via the Let's Talk Hookup app, and make sure you include your contact info so we can keep you in the running for that great trip aboard the San Diego.
Yeah, for sure. Your best way to win that trip, certainly on the phones. We get a lot of texts, and phone line is certainly your best chance to win that trip and have a chance to ask a question of Captain Ronnie Bostian.
You say it all the time. We tend to average a little over 100 texts a show. With somebody's popular as Ryan, it's going to be even more than that. Or, there's only a handful of phone calls to make it on. Your odds are just so much greater. Again, 213-432-1090.
Hey, I have a great text here from Brian in Southgate. He says, good morning, guys. Another great show. When fishing the brawler rig, do you hook the sardine through the nose sideways or hook it through the lower lip up to the nose? Good question.
Sideways, I think, is how they're hooking it, right?
Okay.
I think maybe up and down.
Oh.
Yeah, because it stays on better.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
The problem is it can get kind of torn off on the side.
Mouth open, yeah, up and down. All sinker rig fishing, really, for bluefin, for me, I like to hook it up and down.
Yeah.
The only reason I say that is because I got that from Boog on a show years ago. You had talked about the effectiveness of sinker rig, and you had oftentimes said that it's just like an underutilized technique that not enough people fish the sinker because like the glories and the fly line bite, but how you hook your bait can totally make a difference.
Yeah, we've had some rental rod charters over the years where we'll be like kelp patty yellowtail fishing, and these are people in town for a convention. They've never fished, they've never held a rod, and we will rig all the rent rods up with a sinker rig, even to fish it like a kelp.
Fish a kelp for yellows?
Offshore for yellows, where you could see them swimming in the water.
The brawler rig?
No, this was before brawler rig came. I'm sure it would work great.
Yeah.
And they would do fantastic on it. It's easy. They don't have to worry about casting.
Right.
Just drop it down slow, wind it up slow, and even on a kelp patty. So, yeah, I still feel that it's an underutilized technique.
Yeah.
does a guy figure out what the right amount of sinker is? I mean, is it just get on the boat in the morning and ask Fisher and ask you and ask Matt, or what are the signs of condition when you need to be fishing more or less weight on your sinker rig?
Yeah, I would. If you're on the San Diego, I would say definitely just ask the crew. If you're on your private boat, you're just going to have to kind of trial and error it. Use the lightest possible sinker you could get away with would be my advice. Start with a 4-ounce. If you're drifting too fast and you get a huge flat angle in your line and your bait's way away from the boat, maybe go up to a 6 and you're just going to play around with it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to remind you, the 3rd annual Apps and Taps fundraiser for CCA California San Diego chapter is coming up. It's May 18th at Marina Village, right next to Seaforth there. And there's going to be live music. There's going to be food. There's going to be beer, all kinds of good stuff. And they're honoring Captain Frank Lopresti with the Beacon Award. And I know, I'll be introducing Frank, and I know there's going to be a lot of captains there doing a little roast on Frank, which is going to. What about you, Ryan?
I'll be there.
You're going to be there. Okay. All right. You have a little roasting to do for Frank?
Possibly.
Possibly.
I'm trying to put something together.
Yeah, for sure. I know Captain Brian Kiohara will be there, Captain Tim Ekstrom. I mean, just a lot of people in the fleet to honor this guy, Captain Frank Lopresti, who's done so much for
There's
our
a lot
industry.
of us that wouldn't be where we are today without.
Yeah, no question about it. So you should be there too. Tickets are $75. A VIP table's $1,000. They've got some great giveaways, great silent auction. It's super fun. I go every year. It's Saturday, May 18th, which is just about 3.5 weeks away, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Marina Village Baja Room, right next to Seaforth there in Mission Bay. So it's going to be a good time.
No doubt about it. Well, the phones are packed, and so are the texts. We got a lot of great stuff coming up here, Pete.
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump back on the phone.
That sounds awesome to me. How about this time we talk to Sam, and Sam's calling us from Irvine this morning. Good morning, Sam. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Good morning. Great show. A lot of my questions were in conversation have been brushed through, but I want to say that San Diego, I got my best fish last year. I got a 150 bluefin on a day trip, which was like back in the old days, unimaginable.
Crazy.
Got it on the sinker rig on the slide. It was amazing. But talking about your 40-pound outfit, what kind of mono are you running on that reel? Do you have a favorite mono?
We've tried it all on the San Diego. We typically use Iserline, or some of the guys have been using this. What's that Japanese? Sunline or Momoi. Mm-hmm. That's good. Also, over the years we've tried it all, and it's all all the top end lines that you're going to find in Fisherman's Landing tackle or Seaforth tackle. They're all good.
Yeah. Do you have a particular one? I mean, you sell the monofilament. Would you have a particular one that you kind of lean to?
I love that Iserline XXX.
I love that stuff.
It's that.
Yeah. That stuff's so
the gray
strong.
one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
It's like a copolymer line.
Yeah.
It's very slick feeling on the reel. It comes off the reel really nice. It's strong and crazy, and it comes in either clear or that kind of gray smoke color, which is the one that I really like. I love that stuff. You get good longevity out of it. It's very strong. It's very moderately priced. It's not like it's crazy expensive. That's probably the one that I use the most, and it casts so nice.
Yeah. So in the day when we were all kind of using a lot of fluorocarbon, Seaguar fluorocarbon and such like that, I mean, start to think about mono, and we don't really think about that, but
that's still a very important part of the program.
Yes, absolutely, especially when you're surface arm fishing, right?
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. All right. Hey, thanks a lot for the call this morning. You have a great text.
I thought so. Let me pull it back up here. Sorry about the delay. This one says, another great show, guys. The San Diego is a real standout amongst the full day boats. The San Diego always seems to find the fish when others may not be as successful. Captain Bostian, what do you credit your success to? Is it a great code group, studying your water charts, an excellent crew that I have always noticed glasses harder than any other boat I've been on? Thanks for everything you guys do. What a great show, Dave in San Diego.
I think it's all of that he mentioned. It's just I always tell the guys there's so much out on the ocean that's out of our control, and so the things that are in our control, like our effort, we just need to give 100%, and we will spend as much as we need to spend on binoculars, fish finding equipment, do everything in our power to increase our odds of finding fish.
Who has the best eyes in the binos?
Oh, that's a good question.
Right now, it kind of, it's funny. Fisher and Matt,
young guy.
Yeah,
Matt,
yeah, they're really good. You see a progression with these crew members. They start out not so hot, and then it's almost like a switch gets flipped. They start to get it, and it's really important for the kid on the roof and the guy driving the boat to be on the same frequency.
Okay.
To be in tune.
How do they communicate?
Through a little handheld walkie-talkie.
Okay.
A lot of when we're driving around out there looking for fish is kind of knowing what to give extra attention to and what to just, that's nothing, don't spend any more time looking at it. And that takes time, You see one booby bird hauling butt somewhere the last few years, you probably want to keep an eye on him.
Really?
Yeah. Or, as opposed to a pelican, it's just little tricks like that, knowing what to look for. And it's, breezer, a lot of breezers the last few years. It takes a few years for these kids to be able to start seeing breezers, and Fisher's eyes are really, really good right now.
That's cool. Yeah. Now, booby birds, Laysan albatross, are kind of a new thing in our world, right?
They are.
There's a breeding colony on the Coronado Islands. Is that right?
Yeah, they're super cool. The last few years, like, if you could find a booby bird deal, like a group of booby birds diving, like, you need to get there. It might just be one or two of them, but
sure.
They're typically, I always say, they're the best fishermen out there.
Yeah.
The birds.
Well, they cross the ocean.
Yeah.
Looking.
They're cool.
Yeah. They're
I love them.
Amazing birds, for sure.
We've had a lot of them, like, land on the boat in the last couple of years. And
wow.
One of them in particular, he liked to come back to the bay with us. He liked to come back to the dock.
Same bird?
Same bird. He would get on the boat right outside Point Loma here. He'd ride the boat to the dock, stay on the boat overnight, and then in the morning ride out with us and take off.
I'll be darned.
That's rad.
Yeah, super cool. I have some pictures of it on my phone somewhere, but yeah, he just enjoyed taking a ride with us.
Doing the ride, yeah. Hey, Matt from L.A. has a question. Good morning, guys. Great show. Question for Ryan. When you see dolphin pods, what type of symptoms of the dolphins do you like to stop and troll if they're holding? So if
like
in other words,
yellowfin and stuff.
Yeah, for when you're fishing yellowfin in August, September, October, they get on the dolphin pods. What are the characteristics of that pod that you say, oh, those fish are holding?
Usually, if they're hauling butt away from the dock and putting us further from home late in the day, they definitely have fish on them.
Yeah. It's like, dang.
The least convenient.
If they're swimming as fast as they possibly can, due west at 4 o'clock,
Guaranteed.
40 miles from Mission Bay, go fish them because they have fish on them.
They have fish on them.
No, typically, I've heard a lot of the old timers say if they're slapping their tails, they have fish on them. Ron Baker used to say that a lot. For me, it's if they're tightly packed is what I like, and birds on them.
Birds,
yeah. If there's birds on them, that's a good sign. There's just you just get a feeling. You can just tell that they have fish on them when they're tightly packed, and this seems to me like in the afternoon they're almost always moving west. In the morning they're almost always moving east.
Interesting.
In the afternoon is when we've always done the best on them.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and you when you get up on them, you'll see the fish under it on your meter too.
Oh yeah. You'll see
it's
the
pretty
fish.
obvious.
Right. Yeah. We haven't caught that much yellowfin on dolphins the last couple of years for us. We've had, I know the private boaters have, they've caught a few, but we haven't had any like big stops that have started on dolphins recently.
It's run and gun, right? It's got to keep moving.
Yeah.
Which is tough for a sport boat.
It's tough, yeah. But it's perfect for a private boat that just wants to catch 5 or 6.
Totally right.
Typically nicer grade too. A little nicer grade on the dolphins.
Last year.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Hey, with that said, we're going to find out what's going on the water. We got more of this great FishDope.com report coming your way with Captain Dave Hansen, your saltwater guide. This catch report is sponsored by the Fish Pros at Fisherman's Processing in San Diego, where you get a premier processing experience. Check out the new and easier online system to book your processing for your long-range trips. Now with the addition of new team members, Fisherman's Processing stays ahead of the rest. More same-day capacity and the finest customer service. Stop by their location in Old Town and Taylor Street or check fishermansprocessing.com and make those reservations today. We got the man, Dave Hansen, on the line. Good morning, Dave.
Hey, good morning, Ryan, Pete, Rick. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Good to hear
How
you, Dave.
cool is that? How cool is that they relocated that bluefin?
Yeah.
Very exciting. Now everybody can go bluefin fishing and leave my bass alone. Good. All right. So, gang, historic halibut fishing is what we're talking about today. Catalina, backside, middle of the island, anywhere there's sand. If you can get in there in 15, 20 feet of water and drift, and once you start getting a few bites, and I don't care if it's shovel-nosed sharks, leopard sharks, bass, whatever it is, that's the spot. And if you stay there, the guys that are doing it are being rewarded with big scores of halibut. In Long Beach, LA Harbor, very, very good fishing for halibut. Like, once again, I'm going to use that word historic because we have never seen anything like this in my lifetime here where you can go and target halibut day in and day out. This is pretty incredible thing going on right now. Then as far as fishing for sea bass, I don't know if you saw what happened middle of the week. We had some nice weather, and it went full speed up there at Santa Rosa Island in the typical spot. They're from Rhodes Reef into around towards the backside of the island, anywhere where there was some beaches. There was some really good sea bass fishing with halibut on it. It kind of took a dump the last couple days only because of the weather. Where that fish is at, it is full on blowing as hard as it can blow on the water right now. So that's why you're not seeing a count, but I know for sure that stuff will bounce right back, especially with this week of bitchin' weather that we're going to have. Then there's still sea bass at Catalina also. We just don't have any bait there right now. I don't know where the squid is, but there's going to be enough guys out looking this week. Someone will relocate that squid bait. As soon as they do, that sea bass wants to bite at Catalina also. Nobody's really looking at Clemente, but I think that there's a really good chance, especially listening to Ryan and you guys talk about that fish down below. If you draw a line from where that fish is down there off of Ensenada, it goes right by the Coronados and right to the east end of Clemente. So it's just a big highway. Everything's ready. We just need that wind to stop blowing, give us an opportunity to get out there and go fishing. I think we're in store for one heck of a season. I think this is going to be that year that the old-timers talk about, 83, when I first started running boats. I think that's what you guys are in store for here. So just relax, get ready. It's going to be full speed. You better get your reservations now because it's going to be mayhem.
Yes, sir. So, and, of course, fishdope.com, a must-have for fishing, whether you're on a sport boat or your own private boat. Fishdope.com gives you the information. Comes from guys like Mark Wish, Dave Hansen, and more. It's $30 off a new membership to fishdope.com using the code Hookup now. And Dave, how do we find you?
Well, I'm impossible to not see. If you have on social media at all, I'm your saltwater guide. I put out a phenomenal amount of content every single day. And once again, my hat goes off to Ryan and the crew on the San Diego because, gang, I've been in this industry for a long time. It's hard enough to catch fish day in and day out. Think about this. Catching fish day in and day out with 20 boats following you around all day. That's what Ryan and the crew on the San Diego gets to do.
He's like the Pied Piper.
It blows my mind.
Of the San Diego, I love it.
Yeah, 20 boats would be a light day, right, Ryan?
That's a Wednesday.
Yeah, we just have to ignore them.
Yeah,
it blows my mind, though. Most guys don't even, they sit there at the entrance of the harbor and just wait. It's like, what are you guys doing?
Yep.
Oh, my.
Go fishing, guys. Stop fishing for Ryan.
That's it. Hey, thanks, Dave. Appreciate that very much, and we'll talk to you next
I don't even know what
Sunday.
to say. There's so many things coming to mind. Like,
dude.
I'm just not going to say anything.
Yeah, me too.
We have sold bracelets to guys whose game plan when it was yo-yo sonar yellowtail fishing. They're like, oh no, we're just going to stick to the San Diego. When they stop, we'll stop. I'm like, how could How could that be
Do
your
your
game
plan.
Like, how is that like?
How is that your
How are you telling somebody else that? Like, even if that's what you did, like that's what you would like pretend. Oh no, that wasn't me, man. I don't know who that guy was. But no, like that was his game plan. Like
now, like the full face coverings. They get
out.
Oh no, they're like dressed up like the Taliban. Full face shield, and so they don't think I know who they are.
You know who they are.
I know who you are.
Yeah, hey,
I
it's
saw
pretty
you
obvious on the
yesterday.
boat. Yeah. Thanks, Dave.
Good job,
We'll
Dave.
talk to you
Yeah. All right, you guys. Bye.
All right.
Hey, I want to remind you that's sponsored by the Terrafin Sea Surface Temperature Charts. Focus your offshore fishing in the most productive areas by using Terrafin Sea Surface Temperature. They have chlorophyll, currents, and more. And with Terrafin Mobile, you can access your charge or by your phone or any mobile device. Check Terrafin.com for more information. You want to know how valuable Terrafin is? When we were in a commercial break last time, I glanced over at Ryan, and he was checking Terrafin charts during the commercial. I mean, there is not a better tool out there that shows what the water is doing, and it's just, man, you want to talk about value for the year? Terrafin is where it's at.
It's like $100
Gotta
for a
have
year.
it.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
And what do you see? You see any good water?
I see some dirty water. Looks like it moved east of the rock pile. That's what I noticed first. But
Okay.
I just started looking at it, this particular
The
chart.
dirty water moving east, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know. I don't know
Hard to
right now
say.
because I haven't been out there yet. But
Yeah.
just starting to get a big picture look here.
Yeah. How do the conditions overall look at the Coronado?
It looks okay to me. The North Island looks like it's had the warmest water for the last few months, but the guys that have been out report no fish at North Island, which is a little strange to me. I would expect that to change soon. But today's our first trip. We'll know a lot more after today.
And conditions change like in hours there, right?
Yeah, they change fast around that place.
Is there a most important factor there? Is it current? Is it color? Is it temperature? Is it feed? Is it all the above? I mean, like, what's the one thing where when that is more favorable, you're licking your chops, and maybe when it isn't favorable, you're like, okay, well, here we go. Like, what is that thing?
Yeah, I think it's probably color of water. Yeah, if it gets brown, it's pretty hard to catch any yellowtail around there. We've caught them in all different currents, downhill current, uphill current, east current, west current. We've caught them in all temperatures. I think it's super important for things to just be stable.
Okay.
If there's a 5-degree temperature change overnight, that seems to really affect things. We can catch them in 57-degree water if it's been 57 degrees for a long time. It's the unstable, the
change.
Big changes is what seem to really mess it up, in my opinion.
Well, let's jump into the phones, Rick.
You got it. We got some very patient callers like Frank. He's calling us from Long Beach this morning. Hi, Frank. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Good morning. This is Frank from Laguna Beach.
Oh, Laguna Beach. I'm sorry, Frank.
That's all right. Hey, listen, guys, I listen to you every weekend, and you do a great job on the shows. You just really keep us informed of what's going on. And a little FYI to people that can't get you on the AM radio in their house, like me, I use the app, and it comes in absolutely perfectly clear. So I appreciate the app. It really works. But, hey, my question is, what's the best technique for up on the beach during a grunion run? I've heard so many stories about when the grunion run, the halibut come in, and I've got too big of a boat to get in close to shore. I use my dinghy a lot outside Dana Point. But I've seen guys in kayaks just killing it with live bait out of Dana in like 10, 15 feet of water. I'm just trying to figure out what's the best technique to catch these halibut when the grunion are running.
Yeah, well, that's a good question. We'd have to get Gundy Gunnison, our surf guru, to really give you the deal. But I'd say just a standard drift, right?
I mean, that's that's what Corey is about the most into right now. Our other co-host, Corey Sandin, and he's a big proponent of the windows of time at which the grunion run. It doesn't mean that, that happens on a Thursday, so you need to fish on Thursday. Like, that fish gathers up outside the surf line, and it, sure, it spawns on a specific tide and height and this, but like that bait is all gathered up for like a week's window worth of time. And it's just exactly that. It's knowing the beaches that bait likes to push on to. Like, that's where the concentration of the feed is going to be, and that's where the halibut are going to be staged up to ambush them. And if you're fishing with an artificial, it's having good bottom contact with your lure and keeping your bait in the strike zone. And if you are fishing with live bait, it's just covering the area. And halibut fishing is just a lot of time and work of you getting a bait positioned in front of a hungry one. When a lot of times when you do that, you get the bite, but sometimes it's a lot of you mowing the lawn until you find where those things are stacked up at.
Well said. And a rig I like to use, I don't know what you guys think, I put a torpedo sinker, depending on the current and how fast you're moving, above a swivel, and then about a 3-foot leader to a hook, and then a trap hook, using a treble hook as a trap.
I think that's a great rig and has proven its worth time and time again. I'm like the simplest of simple for me for halibut fishing. I like a reverse dropper loop. Yeah. I tie a dropper loop 3 feet above a hook, and I put my sinker on the loop, and I put my hook on the bottom. And I'm a single hook guy for the most part. My feeling is always that like the fish that I'm fishing for is gonna eat the bait completely in one shot. That no doubt there's probably bites that I have missed over the years. Yeah. I would be confident in that. And with the only exception be fishing mackerels. I do really like fishing them with greenies, and I think that greenback mackerel will draw bites when maybe smaller bites won't. They love eating them. But, man, I can't tell you how many fish I've missed fishing mackerel where even, you see the bite. It's very obvious, where they just, the whole belly, and like, you can see the spread, like, dude, that was a big one. And you almost have to fish a trap rig, I think, with a big greenie. But for me, I'm just a reverse dropper loop guy.
Yeah, simple, easy. Ryan, you do any of that?
You guys see more than anything. What?
Yeah, we don't really target halibut much on the San Diego. The last boat I drove, the Mission Belle, we had a few years where we fished those, and I'm with Rick. Simple, reverse dropper loop. It's just keeping your bait on the bottom, fishing, and not tangled, and for the most amount of time is the guy that's going to get them. There's a lot of rigs that look super sexy when you got them rigged up on the boat, but when they hit the bottom, they're a tangled up mess. So yeah, simple reverse dropper loop, or if you're in super shallow water, sliders, like a sliding egg sinker above a swivel, I've seen guys do.
Yeah. I can tell you another thing, too. My rod holder has caught so many more halibut than my hands have. There's no doubt about it, and I couldn't tell you why. Like, we used to fish it down in IB quite a bit for those things, and like, man, it seemed like you'd hang onto the rod for an hour. You put the thing in the rod holder, and 2 drifts like, oh, we're on, we're bit. You can't screw it up. It's just one of those things that, like...
Yeah, because you're so tempted to swing and get the fish prematurely if it's not in the rod holder, right?
I couldn't give you the reason, but I know my rod holder's way better at it than I am.
Yeah.
Hey, when we come back, we got more Let's Talk Hookup, more of your phone calls, more of your texts. You stay tuned. It's Let's Talk Hookup on the Mightier 1090 ESPN Radio.
Hi, it's me again, Ben, and I wanted to tell you about a great event at my dad's shop, Dana Landing, in Mission Bay. It's coming up on Saturday, May 4th, and we call it the Summer Kickoff Sale. Yeah, I know, it's not summer yet, but my dad, Johnny, Bubba, and everyone at Dana Landing, especially me, wish it was. So we celebrate a bit early with huge discounts on everything in the store. Some stuff is even 50% off. There will be several manufacturer representatives, some amazing seminars, and even my buddy Ron Lane at Fast Lane will have free kayak demos and stuff on sale. Pete and Rick will broadcast live from the event on Saturday, May 4th, and have some super expert guests. Rollo Kids will have a booth too, raising money to take kids like me fishing. So mark your calendar, Saturday, May 4th, the summer kickoff sale at Dana Landing, next to the Dana Launch Ramp in Mission Bay. Everything will be on sale up to 50% off. Man, I hope my dad has enough money to let me buy stuff.
This is Pete, and I hear it all the time. That Jim and Mary at Poway Valley Collision are amazing. I took my car to Poway Valley Collision, mentioned Let's Talk Hookup, and they gave us VIP treatment, fixed our car, and even gave us a special price. Believe me when I say Poway Valley Collision is worth the drive from anywhere in the Southland. At some point, your car will need a body repair, and I'm confident in saying it pays to go to Poway Valley Collision. Our listeners can save hundreds of dollars on your next car or truck repair. They work with most insurance companies, including Auto Club, MetLife, Wawanesa, and more. All you do is call Jim, Mary, or any of their team members, and they do all the rest. No hassles, just top-notch work and VIP treatment. When you take your car or truck to Poway Valley Collision, the job and experience will be top-notch. Get it fixed right at Poway Valley Collision, 14211 Garden Road in Poway. Check PowayValleyCollision.com.
Everyone has their go-to fishing spot. My spot is Kingfisher Charters in Sitka, Alaska. Rock Cod Rick here to say if you're looking for the ultimate Alaska experience and the best value in Alaska, it's Kingfisher Charters. Owner Seth Bone and his crew consistently deliver deluxe accommodations, the finest food, world-class fish processing, and top-of-the-line fishing experience. We've literally sent hundreds of our listeners to Kingfisher, and they all can't wait to go back. Most Alaska resorts make big promises, and they don't deliver, or they'll nickel and dime you to drive up the cost, but not Kingfisher. Everything is included. Your license, fish processing, super deluxe accommodations, amazing food, airport transfers, your gear. Literally all you need to bring is your layer clothing, and Kingfisher covers the rest. They also have the finest boats and charter captains in Sitka, all for the ultimate value. Take it from me, book your trip to Kingfisher Charters and you'll thank me. Kingfisher Charters, 800-727-6136, or check kingfishercharters.com.
For quality, the Islander out of Fisherman's Landing is a favorite among anglers. But Islander Charters is much more than great fishing. The quality of the captains and crew, as well as the great meals and service, speak for themselves. Comfortable staterooms, a super clean and well taken care of boat are just a few of the reasons the Islander is so popular. The Islander specializes in 1.5 to 5 day fishing. Experience the Islander difference. Visit IslanderSportFishing.com.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. We're having a great time here this morning. Lots of great fishing going on. Lots of great stuff to talk about. Man, again, if you want to join us, be in the fun this morning, 2 ways to do it. 213-432-1090. That's the phone number. Or send us a text on that Let's Talk Hookup app.
Yeah, for sure. Some great texts coming through, some great phone calls, and just super here. I have one from John in Rancho San Diego. He says, Captain Ryan, you've the best. I've learned so much aboard the San Diego. Have a trip scheduled in June. Ryan, can you talk about picking the right bait at the bait tank and the importance of changing your bait frequently? Some good questions there.
That's what sets people apart on the boat, is the guys that can pick a good bait and the guys that cannot. You know, I mentioned seeing Bob Williams the other day. Mm-hmm. He came down to the dock with his son. I told the crew after he left that guy was the best live bait fisherman I'd ever seen in my life. Wow. He was so good.
What made him so good?
A lot of things. Yeah. It was first being able to pick a good bait. You know, that's first and foremost. I can remember my dad, telling me when I was a little kid the difference between a good bait and a bad bait, and that has stuck with me all this time. And it's almost hard to explain to someone what's a good bait and what's a bad bait, because you can't really go by color. I have people ask me, should I grab the browner
one,
ones,
the dark one,
the lighter or the darker ones? I don't know. There's good baits that are light. There's good baits that are dark. There's just, a healthy one. You want a healthy bait, and getting it from the hand well to the ocean efficiently without damaging it. And there's a whole bunch of little tricks and stuff that just comes with time. I would say when you go out on a boat, if the crew's fishing, watch the crew and watch every detail of them touching a bait. You're putting it on their hook, getting it into there's a reason for everything. Where their hook is as they walk to the bait tank. There's a lot of little tricks.
When I was younger, I always used to think that, the farther that I cast my bait, the better I am, no matter what. If I can cast my bait farther than everybody else, I'm going to catch more fish because he doesn't have to swim as far. And later, you realize that how your bait enters the water is so much more important than the distance that you give it. You know, like a bait that you are able to get a little ways away from the boat, but it like slides into the water, you know, gently and then rockets off is so much better than overhand casting as hard as you could and that bait slapping the water real hard and then being stunned and not swimming as well. And I used to put so much effort into like trying to be the farthest guy casting possible and then realize it's so much better to just present that thing, just slide them in with no splash. Like your bait's, you're going to get bit so much better.
You'll know within the first 5 seconds, too, if you have a shot. And the guys that recognize that and can wind in a bad bait that they don't have a shot with and change it right away, you do that 20 times in a row, that's a lot larger chance of getting a bite than someone that's, you know, I've seen guys just fish terrible baits for way too long.
Yeah.
You know, it's
like you say, you'll know. You put that bait in the water, if it takes off and it's
right.
pulling line, it's like, okay, this is a good one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Every one of us have fished a bait where when that thing hits the water, you're like, oh, dude, this thing's going to get a bite. And they usually do. And if you're not fishing one of those, well, then keep changing it until you are.
Yeah. And thanks to the Everingham brothers, we have a lot of bait.
They're incredible.
Yeah.
What they do is amazing. Yeah. I think about it all the time, how incredible it is to keep this fleet stocked with bait year-round.
Good bait.
Good bait.
Yeah.
Day after day, boat after boat.
Sundays, Wednesdays, wintertime, summertime,
it's
whatever.
Not even
it's
a
crazy.
thought.
Yeah.
It's not even. The captain's driving these boats. You just leave the dock and you just go to the bait barge and you take as much sardines as you want. It's incredible. That doesn't happen anywhere else in the world.
Anywhere else. Yeah.
They are the fleet, in my opinion.
They're worth the 15% of the ticket.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So one thing I'll mention, too, and you talked about getting the bait out there and handling the bait properly. Use a hooking method on the bait that you feel very confident with, that you can get that accomplished. Like there's some methods that guys use that are a little harder to hold the bait and get the hook in them. Like if sideways to the nose is an easy way, get that bait in the water and handle it easily. If belly hooking is the way to go, is collar hooking, whatever, master the way that you hook that bait so you can get that bait in the water and gingerly handle it.
I would recommend that when people get into sport fishing on these boats, that they master live bait fishing first and then move on to fishing the lures, you know. Unless it's yo-yo fishing, that's a little different. But if it's, you know, traditional Coronado Island yellowtail fishing where things are on the surface, you know, either a fly line sardine or a surface iron, master fly line bait fishing and then think about fishing a surface iron. It'll help you out tremendously if you have the bait fish side dialed first.
Great advice.
For sure. I want to go back to what you were saying too, Pete, is you know, the trend nowadays is to fish with tiny circle hooks. You know what I mean? Like we've talked about it a bunch on Let's Talk Hookup. 10 years ago at the tackle store, we didn't think about selling a hook for a tuna that was under a 2.0. You know, I mean, that was the smallest you would ever go. You know, fish are 50 pounds. Oh, no way. You better be fishing a 4.0 or a 5.0. And now it's common to fish with 2s and 4s and even smaller. Trying to manipulate a number 4 circle hook, you know, it is not the easiest thing to do. And man, you gave great advice there. Like you can mangle up a bait trying to, if you're not comfortable putting it in the shoulder or in the belly or somewhere else, like that's a small gap to try and fit into a bait sometimes. And you can do more damage than good. And you'd be very smart to recognize that.
For sure. When you're fishing the Coronado Islands for yellows, live bait, J-hook or circle hook?
I'm a J-hook guy at the Coronado Islands. Yeah. There are guys that use circle hooks and they're fine. I just grew up fishing J-hooks and that's what I'm comfortable with. They're easier to put a bait on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like J-hooks at the Coronado Islands.
All right, cool. Good advice. Hey, let's jump back on the phones.
You got it, man. They're packed up. This time we're going to talk to Vinny. He's called us from Carlsbad this morning. Hi, Vinny. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, question for Brian. Hey, what are the most common rigs that you see used on your boat? Like, does it depend on the day? Like, is it fly line and sinker?
Like bait, like application wise, bait setup. You mean?
Yeah, like the yeah, exactly.
The most common for us is just like a 25-pound fly line bait rig. That's the tried and true. I think it's the most important rig that a guy could bring. If you're just going to come out with one rig, I would come out with a 25-pound fly line bait rod.
Catch most everything that lives on a kelp, most everything that lands at the islands. It's not too heavy to catch a bass with, and it's not so light that you couldn't catch a trophy yellowtail with.
Right, exactly. Yep.
Right. And you can buy that rig in every form, too, meaning you can get a very inexpensive couple $100 outfit that's going to fish great, or you can be fishing a Trinidad 14 and a custom graphiter and everything in between. That's the first outfit to have almost always if you're into saltwater fishing.
All right. Thanks a lot for the phone call this morning. Let's jump back in the phones, Rick.
You got it. How about we talk to Mike, who's calling us from Phoenix this morning. Good morning, Mike. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Hey, gentlemen. Good day to all. Hey, I think you guys have answered my question, but I'm talking about the dropper loop at the Coronado Islands. What's the ideal setup for that, and how do you actually tie that knot?
Are you talking about like for dropper loop yellowtail fishing or for rockfish fishing?
No, for yellowtail.
For yellowtail, yeah, we like to tie like a spider hitch type dropper loop for yellowtail. A traditional rockfish dropper loop, the yellowtail will break. But yeah, like a spider hitch type dropper loop with a little bit longer leader than you would if you were fishing rockfish is what we use.
Hard to describe over the radio, but when you're tying your dropper loop knot, it's all about like the direction that the barrel of your knot goes in. So like when you cinch it up on a rockfish style dropper loop, when you look at that knot, the barrel points to the sinker and your loop comes out of the middle of the knot. So like when you're pulling on a fish, it's like folding the knot in half. And the strength in all of those loop style knots is always like in the direction that the barrel like turns up in. And on a spider hitch, the barrel is pointing at where the hook would be tied, and then the odd end would be where your sinker's at. But the rockfish, the barrel's pointed to the sinker, and you want your hook on the loop. So whether it's a surgeon's or a spider hitch or any of those things, you just want when it's all cinched up, you want the barrel pointing at where the hook is at.
At where the hook is at, yeah.
To get the strength out.
The other side is not as strong as that right. Side pointing toward the hook.
Yep.
Yeah.
When you hook a big yellowtail on a rockfish style dropper loop, you're folding the knot in half to try to pull on the fish, and it just gets weak and breaks.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks a lot for the call. I have a great text here from Gabriel in Fillmore. He says, with a guy that can't afford expensive binoculars, what do you recommend for a center console boat?
Those techno stabies.
Totally.
Yeah. There's some sport boats in the fleet that only use technos, and they do just fine.
And they're about, I don't know what, lately, $1,100. You can find a used pair, maybe.
Save $1,500. That's a ton of money. I'm not trying to pretend like it isn't. But if you have a center console and you put hundreds of dollars of fuel in it to go fishing, save it. I mean, I know what that is. Trust me, I know more than anybody, especially having two kids now, what it means to say save up $1,500. That's a ton of money.
And it's a lot cheaper than $5,000 for a true gyro binocular.
It is a tool you truly have to have.
And they work, right? They work. They work great. The Fujinon Techno Staby called Baker Marine.
Yep.
And they'll set you up. Who knows? They might have a used pair, but
sure.
But that's like you say. If you're putting hundreds and even thousands of dollars in fuel in your boat and you're not fishing with the right tools, it doesn't work.
The private boaters I see that do really well around here, they'll drive a couple miles and then they'll stop and give a full scan with their binoculars and then drive a couple more miles, stop and do another full scan. And a lot of them are using techno stabies. They're great.
Yeah, they work. Hey, let's jump back in the phones.
All right, how about we talk to Tim? And Tim's calling us from Martinsville, Indiana. You win for the farthest phone call away today. Good morning, Tim.
Well, we had one from Ohio too.
Hey, good morning, Pete. Yeah, good morning, Pete, Rick, and Ryan. Yeah, newly transplanted Hoosier here. It does hurt leave the Southern California sport fishery, but I do have wide open bluegill bite here on my pond. But anyways, Ryan, I just wanted to thank you. I I just wanted to thank you for every time I've gone out on San Diego. You have never failed to produce. My last trip, I got to bring a lot of fish back with me to Indiana on my move. But, yeah, I miss Long Beach, but oh well. It is what it is.
Visit
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
She's not going anywhere, buddy.
Not a far
you for the
plane.
kind words.
Yeah, and enjoy that bluegill bite. But get back out here and catch some yellows and bluefin.
That's right.
All right. Thanks a lot for the call.
Had a fun text come through. Says, great show, guys. I love the San Diego. But could you talk a little bit about when she was built, and are there any sister ships to it that are still fishing in the fleet? I love how your boat rides. It's soft and comfortable. That's from Jeff in Mission Viejo.
Nice, Jeff. It was built in 1965 in Newport Beach at the Ditmar Donaldson Boatyard. And there is a sister ship, the Western Pride. They're both 75-footers. I think the only difference is the galley entrance on the Western Pride. They have like a single galley entrance right down the middle, and we have double galley entrances. We have, one on the port side, one on the starboard side. They're single plank over frame wood construction boats, and the guys back then that were building boats, I wish I could meet them. They were doing amazing work.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's they're a piece of art in my opinion.
Do you have a picture of the San Diego going down the boulevard headed for the ocean from the Ditmar Donaldson like they do on the Searcher? That's one of the most incredible pictures because, Ditmar Donaldson was in Costa Mesa. Way out in the, several miles from the ocean. And Art and Celia have a picture of the Searcher going down the boulevard headed to the water.
I do not have a picture. I do have the final invoice from the boatyard.
Oh, that's cool.
That shows all the itemized, costs of everything and the final cost of the boat.
What did it cost?
Probably the same today, I'm sure.
Yeah. 1965.
Off the top of my head, I can't remember, but it would blow everyone's mind. It was cheap.
Under 100,000?
I think it was. I want to say like 130 or one.
That boat to build today, you couldn't build it today because you can't find wood like that. But it would be.
We've gotten
over millions of dollars.
Frank and I got a couple quotes, probably close to 10 years ago now, and it was to build like a replica of the San Diego. Yeah, it was 10 years ago, $2.5 million.
Wow.
I'm sure it's doubled.
I was saying that was 10 years ago.
That was 10 years ago.
10 years ago, it was $2.5 million.
Yeah, to replace this, if you were to build a replica of the San Diego, you wouldn't build it out of wood. You'd probably build it out of fiberglass or aluminum or steel or something. The guys, like Mark and Paul, the guys that have built the Independence, they can give you a more accurate price. But all said and done, probably $4 million.
$4 million.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. And it was
a good buy in 65, right?
It might even have been like 80,000. I'll have to look at it again. It's been a long time since I looked at it.
Yeah. Things have changed a little bit since 65.
That's wild. Well, speaking of the San Diego, somebody's going to get to go fishing on it, and we're going to find out who that is when we come back. More Let's Talk Hookup coming your way in the Mightier 1090 ESPN Radio.
It's time to go fishing. Hi, this is Doug Kern from Fisherman's Landing Tackle, the saltwater tackle professionals. The perfect rod to handle the toughest fish is Shimano Terramar. The secret? TC4 blank construction with Tech Tape outer wrap to shield the fibers from the impact damage. Make sure to match your Shimano Terramar rod with a Shimano Tranx 500. X-Ship and HEG technologies combine to provide the Shimano Tranx massive cranking power with a smooth and effortless retrieve. For all your Shimano needs, visit us at Fisherman's Landing Tackle at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego. Fisherman's Landing is the top choice in local and long-range fishing. Our hard-working crew will maximize your fishing experience. We offer the finest open party trips, the best charter boats available, and our world-renowned long-range fleet. Fisherman's Landing is a full-service sport fishing operation offering great half-day, full-day, and open party trips. Book online at fishermanslanding.com. I'll see you at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego.
It's time for the Power Pro 30-second seminar. I like catching big fish, and I like smaller reels, too. How do I make sure that I have the capacity to land the big one? I fill my reels with Power Pro Max Quattro. It's 25% thinner than standard Power Pro, so you get more line on that small reel. Power Pro has a complete series of highly effective lines, including the brand new Power Pro Depth Hunter Offshore, with different colors every 100 feet. Perfect for flatfall fishing. Want to learn more? Check PowerPro.com.
If there's one thing we like, it's choices. And at your San Diego County Ford dealers, you can find yours with the all-new 2024 Ford F-150 and the range of powertrain options. Whether it's a gas engine with the best-in-class towing, powering up with the F-150 hybrid and the available Pro Power on board, or the all-electric F-150 Lightning. What you choose to do with that much power is up to you. Tough this smart can only be called F-150. Visit your local San Diego County Ford dealer today. They'll be glad to hook you up.
This is Captain Art Taylor from Searcher Sport Fishing. Your hook is one of the most important links to catching fish. And at Searcher Sport Fishing, we use and recommend Gamakatsu hooks. The Gamakatsu Nautilus hook is best for tuna. And now with a variety of sizes all the way down to size 4, Gamakatsu hooks are the ones to use. It's important to be prepared with the right tackle when you come aboard Searcher, so that should include Gamakatsu hooks.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. Okay, it's time. Captain Ryan Bostian's going to do us the honor, flip the prize coin. We'll figure out whether our winner's coming in as a caller or a texter today.
All right, give it to us.
Thing's pretty heavy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Table going to be able to handle this?
No,
Here we go.
Okay, we have a caller as a winner today, so congratulations, Mike in Phoenix. You are going fishing on board the San Diego. Congratulations,
Lucky
man.
guy.
You're going to have a great time.
Thank you for all the callers. Thank you to all the texters. A lot to go through. And thank you, Captain Ryan Bostian. We sure appreciate your time and what you do on the San Diego. And how do we get a hold of you if we want to go fishing?
The easiest way is to call the landing, Seaforth Sport Fishing, 619-224-3383. They can book a reservation over the phone for you, or you can go online, www.seaforthlanding.com, or through the boat's website, www.thesandiego.com.
And book early.
Book
because
early.
It fills up.
Yeah, with the limited loads now, they're filling up. So.
Yeah, so book now for summer or spring or whatever, if you can get on the boat.
Yep.
For sure. Well, congratulations on getting back out on the water and find those yellows for us.
We're excited.
All right, appreciate that. And thanks to JP for manning the board and the phones, and thanks to Adam for all he does on the Let's Talk Hookup app, and we'll have those archives up very, very soon. Next Saturday, live from Dana Landing in Mission Bay, the summer kickoff sale will be live there 7 to 9 a.m. next Saturday. Then next Sunday, Captain Dwayne Diego from Pinnacle Sport Fishing will be here. Thanks for listening today. We'll see you next week right back here on the Mightier 1090 ESPN Radio and the Let's Talk Hookup app.